I've been in Sri Lanka for about 10 days now, and here is everything that I wish I'd known before my trip. I'm recording this in the beautiful coastal city of Galle. And before I get into this video, I do want to say that Sri Lanka is an incredible country. It's such an all-encompassing destination with amazing food, incredible people, landscapes, history, you name it, you will find it in Sri Lanka. But here is everything that I wish I'd known before I came here and things that you should note down for your trip. So to start off, let's rewind back to when I first arrived and what you should do when you get to the airport. So we've landed, we're through immigration, and we're just waiting on our bags now. This has been incredibly speedy. So I did apply for an e-visa in advance. You do need an e-visa to visit Sri Lanka at the moment, and I would recommend applying for that a couple of days in advance. But it does say on the form they should get back to you within 12 hours. So we've just gone through immigration. Immigration was really quiet, and now just a baggage reclaim here. Practical stuff, I just got a SIM card from Airtel over there. This office here, but all of these are SIM card providers. It cost me just over £6 for 50 gigabytes of data for a month. eSIMs aren't actually that expensive here. Rich has got an Airolo SIM card with 10 gigabytes of data. I will put an Airolo code in the description if you are interested in getting an eSIM. There are ATMs just around here. I'll write on the screen the best one to use. So one of the first things that I didn't know before I came to Sri Lanka, but I really should have known, is that the seasons vary differently depending on where you go in the country. So we're in the southwest of the country now, and the wet season here is just about starting. So the south of Sri Lanka has a wet season from May to about September, but mostly it's between June and July. The north, however, is at its wettest from October to January. But this leads me on nicely to my next tip, which is to go to some of the areas that tourists don't always visit in Sri Lanka. So we have been all over Sri Lanka in the last 10 days, but our trip has mainly focused on the east and the north. And these are areas that people don't go to so much. Historically, they were the areas most affected by the Civil War, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on in this video. But these days, they're incredibly safe. They've got a really rich culture, and they're very open to visitors. So definitely check out my videos from Trincomalee and Jaffna to learn a bit more about those. And I do want to stress this. What you really should know before you visit Sri Lanka is that driving times can take a while, and if you're only here for a couple of weeks, don't try and see the whole island. So if you're just here for 2 weeks, then I'd recommend focusing on an area of the island, perhaps the central and the south, or the central and the north, but don't try and do it all because it will all take a bit longer than you think. However, if you're here for longer, your e-visa is valid for 30 days, then you can obviously see a lot more. This is the Galle Lighthouse here, built in 1938, it seems. Now, a couple of things to do before you arrive in Sri Lanka. Number one is to download a few apps which will help you out in your stay. The most important of these is Pick Me, which is a Sri Lankan tuk-tuk haggling app, which generally works a bit better than Uber. Also, I would recommend making sure you have the Google Translate app downloaded and downloading the English to Sinhalese dictionary. This means that you'll be able to translate things as soon as you arrive. Plus, make sure you have a Maps app. Usually Google Maps works quite well, but I also quite like Maps.me. Now, the other thing that I would really recommend doing before you get here is making sure you have adequate travel insurance. I use and recommend Safety Wing. They are a great insurance provider. They're super flexible. They're tailored to digital nomads, but anyone can use their policies. If you're interested in learning more, then scan this QR code or head to the link in my description. This is very interesting, actually. There's some Islamic writing on the top of this church, and Richard and I surmised that maybe that was a mosque previously. Oh, it's a mosque still, you think? Oh, there is, isn't there? Okay, so we think that is a mosque. So that leads me on nicely to talking about places of worship in Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka is about 10% Muslim, it's majority Buddhist, and there is also a sizable Hindu population, especially in the north, which are the Tamil areas. Now, if you go into any place of worship, what I'm wearing today is not appropriate. So this is actually the first day that I've worn something like this because we didn't have any temples on the itinerary. If you're going into a Buddhist or a Hindu temple, then make sure you've completely covered your legs, and I think it is advisable to cover your arms as well, although as long as your shoulders are covered, then you should be okay. Another important thing to know when you're visiting Buddhist temples is to not take a photo with your back to Buddha. That is seen as highly disrespectful. Now, while we're talking about the different religious groups in Sri Lanka, I should probably talk about the Sri Lankan Civil War. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail here because I have done an entire video about it when we were up in Jaffna, so you can definitely watch that for more information. But I do think it is incredibly important for people to educate themselves on the Sri Lankan Civil War before visiting the country, especially if you are going to the north or the east. The Sri Lankan Civil War was an absolutely horrific, devastating civil war that affected civilians on both sides, but the civilian Tamil population were especially affected. It was Asia's longest civil war, lasting for 26 years, and it only ended in 2009. But nowadays Sri Lanka is a very peaceful and safe place, and there's been a new government elected recently, and there's even more of a push for the longevity of peace and prosperity in the country. There are a lot of scars still from the Civil War, but people are very, very keen to move past it. I wouldn't recommend talking about the Civil War with just anyone because you never know who's been affected by it and to what level people have been affected by it. If you are in a situation where you're with a tour guide and they sort of start talking about it, then you can definitely ask questions about it. I would recommend reading up on it before you go, and I'm going to link some books in the description of this video that really helped me educate myself in the Sri Lankan Civil War. Now, the other thing that really helped me learn more about Sri Lanka as a destination was our amazing guide Danushka. Danushka works for Blue Lanka, and I'm just going to cut to a little bit of him explaining about the tour company. So Danushka, could you just tell me a little bit about what Blue Lanka Tours offers for tourists?
Yeah, Blue Lanka Tours obviously started in 2009, and now we are growing up, and we are the #1 touring company in Colombo in TripAdvisor. We have more than 2,700 reviews on our name. Most all are excellent. That shows how excellent service we are offering for our clients. If you are coming to Sri Lanka, you have to choose Blue Lanka Tours because they will make your stay a wonderful, memorable one for you for sure. So you can reach out to Blue Lanka Tours through their website or their phone number showing in the website, and they will arrange you tailor-made either adventure, honeymoon, relax, yoga tours, whatever you ask. They will cater your need for sure.
Great, and you can do just day tours if you want to as well?
Yeah, we do offer the day tours. From Colombo, we have day tours for Kitulgala, whitewater rafting, adventurous tour, and cultural tours, Anuradhapura day tour, Polonnaruwa day tour, and Sigiriya Dambulla day tour, and Pinnawala Elephant Orphanage day tours, as well as Vilpattu, Yala, Udawalawa National Parks day tours we offer there.
Nice. And so the other tours can be any length depending on tourists?
Yeah, it's depend on your vacation, how many days you want to stay in Sri Lanka, what is your age, what is your preference, and you are an adventurous person, you can do the hiking, trekking, whitewater rafting. If you are an animal lover, you can go to our wildlife parks, elephant transit home, whale watching. If you are culinary or looking for foods, we can do the food tours around the Sri Lanka, starting from Jaffna to the southern tip of Galle.
Oh, amazing. So anywhere in Sri Lanka?
Anywhere in Sri Lanka, everything is covered by Blue
Amazing.
Lanka Tours.
And if someone wants to do two things particularly that aren't normally on the same itinerary, you can make a custom itinerary for them.
Yeah. You can ask from our staff at Blue Lanka Tours. They will help to cater your needs for sure.
Perfect. And what is your favourite place to visit in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I would like to go to the Kumara National Park because it is in our eastern coast, very near to Arungambe coastal belt. So you have the coastal experience as well as all the animals or the big 5 animals in Sri Lanka, starting from elephant, leopard, the wild buffalo, crocodile, and the sloth bear. You can see them at Kumara National Park.
So while you definitely can visit Sri Lanka independently, I think it's really beneficial to do at least a day or two with a guide. That's not because it's difficult to travel independently, but it's just because with a guide you'll get so much information that you wouldn't get otherwise. And definitely if you go with Blue Lanka and ask for Danushka, he will tell you everything that you've ever wanted to know about Sri Lanka, and he's an absolutely lovely guy as well, so I highly recommend him. We've just come to Galle Beach now, and the next thing that I will say is watch out for the waves. So some beaches in Sri Lanka look calm. I mean, this one looks a little bit wavy, but they can be very unexpectedly choppy. So do take a lot of caution when swimming. Only swim when you know it is safe to do so, and make sure you take heed of any warnings that are in place. If you have any doubt, then ask a local, such as someone working at a hotel where you want to swim or something similar. Speaking of water, not this kind of water, but tap water is not safe to drink. So definitely don't drink it. Some people I know have been using it to brush their teeth. I personally haven't, because my stomach can be a bit sensitive sometimes. Many hotels, such as the Jetwing Hotel brand, will offer filtered water. Jetwing actually have their own filtering plant on their site, which is really cool. Other hotels will offer bottled water. If you can't get any filtered water, then do stick to bottled water. It's not great for the environment, but it is pretty essential. The other thing that I do recommend is a water-to-go bottle. I've used these all over the world, and they've always been really great for making filtered, clean drinking water. I'll pop a link to them in the description of this video. It's a little bit windy here, but I did just want to have a quick chat about haggling. So haggling is quite common in Sri Lanka. When you're shopping at market stalls, it'll be quite common to be quoted a higher price than what you'd expect to pay and to barter it down a little. But one word I did just want to have about haggling is I think some Western tourists kind of take it to extremes and try and see how cheap they can get things. And while you will be paying more than locals, I think you are in their country, and it does help them out a lot to make a small purchase, even if that is slightly more. So I wouldn't say take haggling to extremes. Obviously, if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, then obviously do haggle a bit, but I wouldn't say haggle so hard for 50p or the equivalent. The people of Sri Lanka are so welcoming and will be welcoming you into their country, and I think the least you can do is show a bit of appreciation by not insulting them with the price you want to pay for things. Now, the last thing that I want to say is approach Sri Lanka with a smile. The people here are so kind and so welcoming and so friendly, and you forget how many horrors they faced in really not that long ago at all. Like I was mentioning, the Civil War only ended 15 years ago. But the people really want to welcome tourists. It's one of the most friendly, welcoming countries that I've ever been to. So if you take your time to chat to people, to get to know people, and to ask questions, people will really appreciate it, and it will make your travel in Sri Lanka all the richer. Oh, and one more thing, if you're visiting Sri Lanka, I wrote up a full list of blog posts about this amazing country, including what to do, where to stay, and even more travel tips. So if you're interested in checking those out, then you can scan this QR code or click on the link in my description. They're completely free, and they have loads of links to help you book your trip. So that is just about it from this video. I'm going to have another little walk around Gaul. Ooh. My hair's going everywhere. Do check out all the rest of my videos for so much documentary style information about the country, and also make sure that you click on the link in my description to take you through to all of my blog posts about Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you're visiting Sri Lanka, I hope you have the best time. Bye.